Hello everyone, this is Prithvish Pramanik and today I am going to brief you about ROT13 cipher or the rotate by 13 places cipher. Now to begin with, let's learn something about cryptography because ROT13 cipher is a part of cryptography. Now cryptography or cryptology is made up of two ancient Greek words, cryptos, which means hidden or secret, and graphene, which means to write. So, in layman's term, it is the practice and study of techniques to secure communication in presence of adversarial behaviors or any intruders who is not intended to read private messages. It is a study to protect your privacy. Now, what is the need of cryptography? So, for this, let us take a very common example. Let us take a boy and a girl communicating over a messaging platform. We have taken up WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp is a highly encrypted, highly protected platform. We know, but for the timing, let us consider it that it's not encrypted. It's an open platform. Now, this boy can send any messages to this girl and vice versa. Now, as they are sending messages, this messaging platform is not encrypted or protected in any ways. Their message is open. So any private message can be read by anyone who hacks into the system. And here arises the question, what if an intruder or an hacker hacks into the system? Then he will also know what this boy and the girl is talking about. They may be talking about important matters related to their offices or schools or colleges. Now, this intruder will also know. So this is a breach of privacy. So what can we do? Confused, right? There is a solution for it also. The plain and simple solution is to encrypt or codify your texts or messages. For example, here is a very basic example. Here is a plain text that any human who knows to read or write can understand. Okay. They set out, like here it is written that they set out before dawn, hoping to conquer a mountaineering classic. This is a pretty simple sentence that any human can understand. But what if this message was a private message that needs to be sent to another person, and in between there shouldn't be anyone who should read it? So what we can do is we can put this plain text into a encrypting algorithm which will encrypt this whole text into a gibberish format. Now this gibberish format is definitely a human cannot understand. However intelligent he may be, he cannot understand what this gibberish thing tells or whether there is any hidden message in it. So this is the one and only solution. Now, there are different types of cryptography. Since time immemorial, cryptography had been used. In ancient Greece, in ancient Rome, it has been used. And it is still being used. And it is one of the most concerned topic today. Because breach of privacy or leaking of confidential information is not at all good thing. Now cryptography, on the basis of its origin time, it's divided into two parts, a classical cryptography and a computer era cryptography. Now by both means, by both letters, you can understand in layman's term that in this era we have huge computational power. But in this era, cryptographers, all the techniques that were used were not so much or didn't require so much computational powers. Now, ROT13 is one of this classical cryptography method, belongs to one of this classical cryptography method. Now, what is classical cryptography? We heard that it is in the ROT13 that we are reading is a part of classical cryptography. But what is it? Now, classical cryptography is based on mathematics, pure mathematics, and it relies on computational difficulties like factorizing a number many times. So it basically secures its messages by increasing the complexity of the mathematical problem, or intensifying the factorization of a large number, or setting up certain rules and regulations that only confined to a certain group of people. So this was what classical cryptography was all about. Now here are two images. This is a cipher which belong to the infamous Babington plot. Now let me tell you about what is this Babington plot. In 1586, in UK, United Kingdoms, Mary, the Queen of Scots, and her Roman Catholic cousins were planning to assassinate the then Queen Elizabeth I. Now, whole thing they used was cryptography to communicate between the assassinators. Their letters, this was the letter, and this was what it was encrypted into. And this letter was passed on Mary's and her Catholic cousins. And they were planning these assassins. But fortunately, it came into the view of other people, other soldiers, ministers, and subsequently it failed. And Mary was punished for also for that. And what is this? It is a Caesar cipher. Now, what is a Caesar cipher? It is the cryptographic method that Julius Caesar used during his time. Julius Caesar, yes, you heard it right. Cryptography age that old. Now, let us learn about the rotate by 13 places, or ROT13. Now, what is rotate by 13 places? Rotate by 13 places, or ROT13, is a simple letter substitution cipher that replaces a letter with the 13th letter after it in the alphabet series. Now, it is one of the special case of Caesar cipher, which was developed in ancient Rome. As I have told, it was a special part of the Caesar cipher. Julius Caesar, the ruler of Rome, the great Rome, devised this method. Now, this Caesar shift, all the 13, is performed in the ROT13 algorithm. Just note this ROT13 algorithm. Now, what is this ROT13 algorithm? Let us know. Because whole ROT13 cipher, or ROT13 rotate by 13 cipher, is based on this ROT13 algorithm. Now, what is it? Let me explain you. Now, we know that there are 26 English alphabets. Now, whenever we apply this ROT13 algo or algorithm, what it does, it performs such, it has to perform certain encryption, right? Because it is an encrypting cipher, it is an encrypting algorithm. Now, what is it does? It replaces a or any number in this 26 letters with its 13th position character. For example, a. Now it gets replaced with n. Now, if you count, n is the 13th number character relative to a. Similar goes for b, c, d, and so on. So what we get after encryption is a gibberish format we cannot understand. For example, if we take cat, C-A-T, cat, what it's pretty much understandable by any humans. But what if we apply this ROT13 algorithm? It will turn out to be PNF. PNF doesn't stand for anything. It doesn't means anything. So people, without knowing this algorithm, won't get it, that it is encrypted. Now let us take up some more examples about how this ROT13 algorithm works. Now I have given here the right format or the correct format of the English alphabets, and I have also given the reference that we will be using to cipher or encrypting the text. So I have created a somewhat lookup table here, which we will be referring time and again. Let us take up the examples. Here we have the plain text hello, the infamous hello of the hello world that we use during the start of our programming. Nevertheless, hello. Hello consists the first word of hello, the first letter of hello is H. Now this ROT13 works on each and every letter that is present in a word. So we will take up the first letter H and look up for H in our reference table. Now consider this English alphabets as our input because we are giving a well to understand word. So a well to understand word can only be made up of arranging in the correct order, arranging the English alphabets in the correct order. So let us consider English alphabets as our input, and this could be said that it will be our output. So when we look up H here, what is our intended output? It's U. So this H gets replaced by U. Similarly, we will be looking up for E. E. Its corresponding letter that it should get replaced is R. It gets replaced by R. Similarly for L, it gets replaced by Y. And now there are two L's, so there will be two Y's. And for O, it's B. Now if we count, if we verify it, B is going to be the 13th letter of relative to O. Now what we get is YR, UR, double Y, B. Now this is a gibberish thing because this doesn't make up any sense. Hello do makes up a sense. We are saying hello to each other, hello to someone, but this thing doesn't make up a sense. But yes, it definitely represents our message hello. Thus, this is the encrypted or the cipher text that we get by applying the ROT13 algorithm in this to this hello word. Now let us take up another example. The plain text is clerk. Now when we look up C for in our lookup table, it gives us P. So C gets replaced by P in the cipher message. Similarly, L gets replaced by Y, E gets replaced by R, R gets replaced by E. Now look, this is the clarification that if E is the 13th, R is the 13th letter from E is also the 13th letter from R, vice versa. And then K gets replaced by X. Anytime you can go up to this lookup table and clarify it by yourself. Now clerk get replaced by Pyrex. Now Pyrex is a brand and it do make up a meaning, but this word doesn't stand for our message. Now we surely didn't meant to say Pyrex. If we are sending certain message which contain clerk, we didn't intend to say Pyrex. Rather, our message was clerk. Thus, we get the cipher text. Now, it was well and good, but there are problems. There are problems with this ROT13 principle or ROT13 algorithm or cipher, whatever we say. Now, what are the disadvantages? Now, while employing the one-time pad, it is a cumbersome and requires a personal meetup to exchange the pads. Now, whenever you write down these things, it needs to be exchanged physically, because when it was used in the ancient time, it required to be sent through certain hands. Now it required to exchange of messages. Now when they got that messages, they would sit with a lookup table, they would match the things, and it was a very cumbersome process. as you can get a glimpse from the previous slide. Now, what if there was also a chance that during this passage, the passage of transfer or sending of a message through human hands, anyone who is remotely interested in knowing what you wrote and knows about cryptography will be able to break the encryption, because there is a pattern in this. So this is what was the disadvantage of ROT13, and also with the increasing computational power day by day in our modern era, we can run n number of possibilities and get out and get out the hold and break this cryptographic method, because it is a very simple thing. If you know the break, you know it how to crack it. And with this huge computational power that we right now have, it is just a task of minutes to break into the cipher or text. Uh, and this all made up the disadvantages of ROT13 cryptography. It was a very good cryptographic method that was applicable in the ancient times when we didn't had so much computational power or means of transport. Uh, Mainly, we didn't have that much of computational power, but still, with increasing time, with increasing technology, it is now an outdated cryptographic method. And that's it. Thank you everyone for giving your time once again. Thanks everyone.